Welcome to Yahoo Esports Live. I'm Mark Zimmerman. It's the off-season. Hooray! With all the world madness behind us, it may seem like there's nothing to talk about this week, but no. IEM is in a state of flux, League's preseason patch is out, and a letter from team owners to Riot was leaked. We have the Prophet joining us to break it all down. Get ready, late night leagues coming your way. There were a couple big topics this week, but one that I want to touch on before opening this up to the guests is regarding IEM. Basically, there was an announcement recently about which teams would be going to IEM Oakland, and the initial list of those teams was pretty boring in the sense that they weren't top teams from the regions and don't have the largest fan bases. This was slightly alleviated when TSM announced that they'd be attending the event, but the conversation was already started, and I saw a lot of blaming with regards to why would IEM pick such a bad time for an event? Teams should take every opportunity to practice. Riot needs to allow for more third-party tournaments. I don't actually want to touch on that last one right now. I just don't feel like it's fair to criticize teams for not attending the tournament. Most teams who miss Worlds, and even many who go, have roster upheavals soon after. Most players are only contracted for a single season, and it expires as soon as that season ends. So most teams don't even have a contracted roster to send, but even if they have most of them there and just want to try someone out, they still need to sign that guy for the event. It's kind of a complicated paperwork process. And this is before getting into the fact that a lot of the top teams, the ones that you want to see at this event, have been attending Worlds and other events. So that means they've been playing for almost a full year, since many of the teams start up in December. Players want to, take a vacation and have fun streaming for a few short months before the madness starts up again. I don't think it's fair to point the finger at IEM either, because they just want to throw events when they can, and this is one of the few times in the calendar year when they are able to do so. Maybe you can say it'd be better to have a fun event that doesn't require the teams to send their full roster, but those often don't have the same mass appeal as a real competitive event does. As weird as this might be to say, I think the off-season should be just that, off. There are a ton of hurdles to deal with when it comes to coming up with interesting competitive events, and giving teams, players, and fans a month or two to relax is totally fine. Now, to get another perspective on this, I'd like to probe the mind of the one and only Travis Gafford. How you doing, man?
You can probe my mind anytime you want, Mark.
I don't want to. How are you doing? Welcome back from Hawaii, right?
Yeah, thank you. It was fantastic. Aloha.
Aloha!
Yeah.
Shaka!
Yeah,
All right.
Okay.
Anyways, there's another person here today known for his insightful knowledge of the League of Legends world. He is a caster and seer of things unknown. Please welcome Alberto Crumbz Rengifo.
Right. Hey, let's go, man. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Definitely not doing that. You can get a handshake.
How are you?
How's it going? You're actually here.
Oh,
you
yeah,
get the spotlight.
Yeah, please
right.
put some distance between Travis and I.
Wow, okay. There we go. It's like that.
No probing here.
Yeah, that's
not with me.
That's axed. So tell me, during the monologue, I was talking a little bit about the IEM event and saying it was a little, maybe too soon. Teams need a little bit more downtime. What are your thoughts on that kind of topic?
Well, as someone that is actually participating in the event, I think that it makes a lot of sense for the event to be there. As you mentioned, the timing, while it's after the Worlds, so a lot of teams are taking the breaks. Some teams didn't get to go to Worlds, right? Some teams that maybe finished in 7th place or finished in positions that they didn't compete in internationally are looking for that experience. And a lot of times that tournament is a really good opportunity for rosters to try to find their stride in a new team. So I think that the event makes a lot of sense to be there. And if teams want to decline it, so be it. But fans are still going to watch it. It's not like these teams are completely unknown, right? Some of these even went to Worlds, so I think it'll overall be a good event.
What do you think, Travis? Same thoughts, or
Yeah,
more
I mean,
on my
I think
side?
it's hard to do an event right around this time, but I don't know. I think I would be kind of bummed if there wasn't a IEM happening during the off season. We've had a lot of time since Worlds, and there's still time to go before All Stars, so having something like this will be pretty cool. I'll be up there myself at Oakland. Maybe I'll interview you there if you're lucky, Crumbz.
No, let's go, boy.
Pass, hard pass.
Yeah.
I'm booked the entire time.
Just real popular guy.
Okay.
Can't squeeze you in.
Yeah.
But do you think maybe it'd be better if it was a little bit later, and maybe like the All-Star was something that didn't happen? Because the All-Star Games has always been one that's kind of like, it's interesting, but it's not quite as cool. I think people would be a lot more...
I love All-Star.
You actually love All-Star?
Yeah. Do you not love All-Star?
I think All-Star, they did it really cool one year, where like you voted and like you made like a team of 5, and it was like kind of like a ragtag thing, but then they made it...
That's what this is, too.
Is it? Okay, well then I'm excited
Mark,
again.
you didn't even vote on All-Stars?
No, of course not.
Worlds
Yeah.
is over and you're like the competitive season is
It's-
done.
it's
for me.
dead until it's back up.
I'm with him on this, and I don't think that the competitive
Oh my gosh!
should like
You guys are not representative of the vast
average-
majority of esports fans.
we're the elite.
I would, yeah, we are elite. I would rather it be a thing where there's no All-Star event and IEM happens a couple weeks later, or like a month later, when teams have a little bit more time to like figure out their roster and even practice a little bit, as opposed to just getting a couple teams that haven't somehow blown up or gone through roster upheaval. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard because I'm sure. So there's IEM Gyeonggi in Korea this year, so maybe that'll be more like what you're thinking of. I think it's right after All-Star.
Yeah.
And so, but if you want to squeeze like these 2 events in before the season starts, you only have 2 months to do them in. I don't think you have a lot of options, so maybe that's just how it works. But All-Star is so awesome, and I can't believe you don't want it to happen.
I'm with him on this, and I'm personally not a huge fan of All-Stars.
Yeah, because you guys are elitist jerks.
Well, I think that the IEM event add a lot of different pizzazz that we don't get to see throughout the year, right? All the events are kind of following the same pattern, and this is one that is a different organizer. It's also a different feel for it because there's multiple games happening as well, so it's more of like a convention going on that fans can open their eyes to more than just one game. Be like, well, there's esports all over the place, and I think that adds a lot more value.
I'm not saying
event.
there shouldn't be IEM. I'm just saying that I think the current system, maybe you just have to accept IEM for what it is, for Oakland at least, and then get excited for All-Star, and then after that you've got IEM Gyeonggi. I think I'm pronouncing
I mean, you
that.
telling me you're not going to watch to see how TSM does?
What? I'm there. I told you I'm there. Of course I'll be watching.
Travis
this
doesn't
game.
watch the games. He just like schmoozes around for a little bit.
We are in agreement that like IEM
Yeah,
Oakland is good.
being
We're
there-
all
hang
in
on.
agreement here.
Being there does not mean that you are participating in what's going on.
I'll be literally interviewing people after they win.
And you're like, can you tell me what happened this game? Because I didn't watch.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the Travis
exactly.
Gaffer technique.
Yeah.
I
no
want to
wonder.
transition us to another topic really quickly. There was a letter that leaked from the owners to Riot, kind of talking about their plans and what they want going forward into the year. And it sparked a lot of outrage kind of about relegation. So as a player back in the day when you went through that process a couple times, so what are your thoughts on relegation, not as a viewer, but as a player and someone who's been on teams?
So we discussed this a little bit earlier, and the thing that relegation does, first of all, when all these new organizations come in where you qualify, the first goal is always just don't get relegated. That's the only thing owners, anybody just ever wants, investors, do not get relegated. That's the ultimate goal. So it kind of puts you in the mindset of, instead of trying to win, to not fail. That doesn't really go very well. I mean, you can see that happening at the lowest level in players. You want to tell players you want to focus on winning, not on not failing. And so when relegations comes around, or where you know that you're going to it, it's very difficult for you to think about anything else, and you're kind of holding yourself back in what you could be trying to do, experimenting and improving at the game. So I think that relegation being gone will probably be happening and will be for the best.
Travis, what do you think? You on the same side of that, or you somewhere else?
I don't know. Relegation is interesting to me. I do see a lot of the arguments around, like, relegation is exciting. As a viewer and as a fan, I can understand why Reddit has not been the biggest fan of it, because first off, we've seen several teams and orgs that probably haven't been as deserving as some of the other ones that have come in, right? Like, without relegation, we wouldn't have Cloud9. Team Marn would still exist.
We wouldn't have
there'd
Renegades.
be no Echo Fox. We wouldn't have Renegades, so we don't really have Renegades now. I don't know. Either way, you know, like it's very exciting, right? There's super high stakes to see this stuff happen. To that end, on the other side of it, though, I think that there's a stability issue that is around whenever you do have relegation. I agree with Crumbz that I think it'll go away eventually. But probably not for 2017. We'll see. But I mean, the relegation thing was only one part of that letter, right? Like they just want
there was
money.
a lot more in
It's
there.
essentially all they want is money.
Well, right, because their position.
Stability offers
Yes,
money.
yes.
Their position being that, like, you know, we are all losing money with the dream that someday we start making money in this, but there's
Yeah.
no guarantees for us. So, like,
Yes.
why don't we try and cut our losses? A
Yeah,
little bit?
I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but you can literally just like boil down that whole letter into we would like money and to not lose money. Please help us with
Give
that.
us
I think
Yeah.
that's a little
Yeah.
universal thing that we can all agree with. Like, yes,
Yeah.
I would like some
One
more
money, please.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll take another round of money.
Yeah.
Travis, you have a feature that you shot for us.
I did not shoot this.
Oh, you didn't shoot
But
it.
actually, you were doing the Yulal stuff for us recently, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is actually, I believe, from the first week. We actually had some folks out there. Josh went out there.
Oh yeah,
and,
Josh was doing it with Darshan.
Yep, Darshan. So here we go. We can take a look at it.
Hey guys, I'm Josh Del Kim, and I'm supposed to be here with Darshan. I think he's supposed to be coming.
Hey guys, it's Darshan from CLG. How's it going?
Yeah, so we're here to talk to students about.
Yeah, just doing a meet and greet, answering questions from fans. I really wanted to come to colleges and kind of make a difference with my perspective as a pro.
Yeah, and we're meeting up with the Crimson Gaming guys who are actually going to be playing tomorrow against BYU. So there's a big old rivalry match between BYU and U of U. So that should be really exciting. I'm Josh Del Kim. You guys might know me from All Chat, and this guy obviously needs no introduction. So yeah, thanks for having us, guys.
Whether you're doing your major, whether you're going for music or whatever it is, just follow your passion. There's a lot of good and a lot of bad as a pro. It's not really as glamorous as it seems, but if you love doing something, if you're passionate about doing something, then you can make it work.
2014, when you guys played TSM in playoffs and you used Nasus as a Maokai counter pick, who came up with that counter pick?
Me, I've always been the kind of guy who's like, what crazy pick can I come out with?
Why League?
This game's actually awesome. And then I just couldn't stop playing since then.
Like, what was your childhood dream or job or whatever?
So I'm in Gold 2 right now, and I'm trying to climb to Platinum before the end of the season, which is 4 days away.
Just add me on League, dude. I got you. 4 days? I think my boosting service is, well, it's pretty hefty, though. I'd say it's about $2,000 a day.
What comes after League of Legends? What are you looking forward to doing when you step away from the pro scene?
I'd say, like, the #2 thing for me after League is singing. I've been, like, getting singing lessons every week for about, like, 8 months now.
Could you sing something for us?
Sure, you got a request?
Anything you've been practicing.
I was doing just fine before I met you. I drink too much and that's an issue, but I'm okay. Hey, tell your friends it was nice to meet them, but I hope I never see them again. I know it breaks your heart, moved to the city in a broke down car.
All right, that wraps it up for the AMA, guys. Give hands up to Darshan.
You have thousands of fans in China.
Really?
And your ID, Darshan, actually sounds like a Chinese word mountain, so we kind of call you mountain. We got really impressed by your poppy and your cannon. They're really great. Yeah, I just want to say that because I'm one of your big fans.
Steven, nice to meet you. Michael, you've got a beautiful mane of hair, man. It's great.
All right, so that wraps it up for your Q&A and meet and greet, and I think a lot of people had a lot of fun. Yeah, so we have some exciting games tomorrow. Who do you think is going to win?
Well, that was pretty cool to get to see. After seeing that, are you happy that you're more on the broadcast side, or would you rather have been at the events?
I'm happy that I was on the broadcast side because those two teams had very jokeable names. I mean, one of the top winners was called the U.S. economy, so there was a lot of fun with that.
Well, there are no competitive games going on this week, but fear not, because we still have a clip for you. It's time for Hindsight.
Shit, I'm gonna die. That kill I got on Gosu. What the fuck, dude? Love, dude.
All right, so joining me for Hindsight this week is Crumbz. We're both analysts, so I figured I'd invite him up here to help me break down this play. And like I said, since there are no competitive games going on, we're gonna take a look at a play from Cutie Pie's stream. Crumbz, you've been on a team with Cutie Pie before. What's it like to play with him?
Well, he's very direct. It's a very honest man. I can say that for him.
All right, well, why don't you take me through the play?
So we're going to keep an eye out right here on the cherry that he's about to pop. And because there's 4 people in this play, we're going to need 4 triangles to really show that. So 4 plays, 4 fingers right there. And we can just roll it out to educate the audience.
All right, so let's take a look at what's going to happen here.
Vane right there. She's the one that's getting it.
She's going to get it. We see he pops up there. What I actually like is that I think he messed up his trajectory. I think he's trying to go there, but ends up going down here.
And then he ends up moving here, and this is Vane, who's in his zone. So you don't want to be in the cow zone.
Right, and on top of that, all the other teammates are actually going to chase away the rest of the team. So Cutie Pie is going to end up isolated versus the Vane.
And luckily, there's going to be a nice little trail here that we'll get to later, but this is essentially the Doritos that she's coming in with, because if you play Vane, you're probably doing that.
All right, so as we play the clip out, you're going to see he ends up right next to the Vane, isolated, team chasing away. Pretty easy kill for him. Now, the important thing to look at is now the mini-map, right?
Yeah, so right here, we have Anivia coming in, and she's going to be bringing something that's a little bit new to League of Legends. She's going to be bringing a cold front, and you can see that be, oh,
you want it? Where's the storm? There it is. There you go, buddy.
Here we go. So there's going to be just a massive cold front coming in from the mini-map over here. So you're going to want to avoid this. You want to retreat towards the west, towards the south. You don't want to be going directly east, though. So,
well, what you have to notice, though, is Cutie Pie, if you look at his face, he's probably not too focused on the mini-map. It's hard to see with the eyes closed what's coming his way.
The circle really highlights the emotion here.
Yeah, so instead of, running this way like you were saying west, he's kind of going to go south. Maybe bump into that storm.
Let's see what happens, though. You want to avoid the perfect storm.
No focus. Face down, laughing.
Hands off the keyboard immediately.
Can't recommend you do that when you go play this at home.
This is essentially Florida in a nutshell.
Oh, God. All right, well... Thank you for helping me break this play down, Crumbz. It wouldn't have been the same without you here. That's it for Hindsight this week. IEM, please hurry up and come here so we don't have to do this again. We'll be back after the break to continue talking with Crumbz about more of his personal life and things like that, so stick around then. Welcome back from the break. We are still hanging out with Crumbz, but now it's time to get a little more personal, stop talking about all the news going on, and get to know Crumbz a little bit. So tell me, how'd you get into gaming and specifically League of Legends?
So my parents were quite into gaming, so I started playing a little bit as a kid.
Wait, your parents were into gaming?
Yeah, my dad.
I feel like that's never how this story starts. It's like...
Yeah, it's like my parents did not like gaming, and I had to do it secretly.
And I rebelled against them.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, try this game out.
I mean, that happened as well because I was very much into it, but essentially they had a business in Venezuela where they taught people how to use the computer, taught schools, people came in, because that was like 1990s, 2000, where people were actually like, how do you use this? And a lot of times after school, after sailing, I'd go there and just play on the computer a lot. But my competitive drive was in sailing. The only other competitive thing I did was play RuneScape and PK, which I was unbelievably good at it, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to ask that because I'm really in tune with RuneScape. This is basically a RuneScape show, actually.
The guys that know about it, they'll be happy. Yeah, but after that, I went to Canada and I started sailing there, but it just wasn't the same.
So wait, you were a competitive sailor. Sorry. Yeah. Like, can you... I mean, I know people like race or whatever, but this is something very unusual, I think, in esports. You're the first person I've ever met in esports that's a competitive sailor.
Yeah, so basically it wasn't a big boat. It was a small boat, almost like 6 feet long. It's called an Optimist, and I used to sail that for many years. I won national competitions, went to Worlds there, went to...
Really?
Yeah.
Are you beating other people who you're like racing them?
So basically in sailing, it's the first one to do laps. Right?
Okay.
It's relative to your adversaries. It's not about time. So yeah, you are beating people all the time.
So then you went from being outdoors on the ocean,
I was
sailing.
extremely outdoors, and then I mean you can't do sailing in Canada because in Venezuela I just had like a life vest and shorts. Yeah, But in Canada, I needed to have I needed to wear socks on my boots.
You got to go ice
neoprene,
fishing. You got to
everything.
dig yourself out so
It
you can
was
actually
too much.
go. Yeah.
So I quit that, and then I joined what was a charity gaming after school where you could play Dota there, and you had to give like $1 to play after school, and immediately I got hooked. I was like, okay, something I can compete in. Got my ass whooped a bunch, but then I took that game, I downloaded it onto a USB, put it in my home computer, and I didn't even have internet, so I just played against bots all the time with my brother. We like bought a big cord and just connected it.
You had a USB back then?
Yeah.
Back then you had to like burn everything to DVDs and CDs
Dude,
and
this
stuff.
was like 2006.
Oh, okay. This was quite the jump for me
Yeah.
from like your parents in the 90s teaching people how computers work to...
No, we're already in Canada. We're
Yeah,
already
okay,
doing
okay. I
that,
didn't
so.
quite realize
Try
that.
to keep up, Mark.
Yeah,
Try to keep
jeez. I'm sorry.
Where
Something about
would we be without you? Come on, you gotta
exactly.
Say it. So after that, after playing Dota, then I finally got internet, and I told my friend, hey, let's continue playing Dota. And he said, no, new game now. It's League of Legends. I was like, screw it, League of Legends. And I just played a lot, and then I mean a heaping helping of League of Legends. I don't think anybody actually played more than me in season 1. I think I was looking at the ranking. Second most games played was like 1,800. Mine were like 2,700.
Jeez.
That's just ranked. That's excluding normals, no boost, no nothing. And after that, I just wanted to compete, so I would skip out on pretty much anything in my life just to play League. And eventually I got pro, and here I am.
So you got pro, basically how a lot of other people did, being high on the ladder and getting scouted. Because
Yes.
back in the day, it was just like teams of players getting together, being like, "Hey, you're cool. Let's run it."
Yeah, exactly, because there was a tournament happening in IPL 3 where Epic Gamer, one of the older teams at the time, had a player, Sauce, who wasn't 18, and they needed somebody to be 18 that could compete. Lucky me, I was an 18-year-old player in the ladder, the highest ranked 18-year-old player that could participate in the tournament. They invited me, and then immediately I went to Curse, to Dignitas, to Renegades, to Apex, to now.
What'd you play when you subbed in for this tournament? Because you were a top laner for a little bit as well. Were you mid or top?
So I played, in this tournament, I played mid. My first pro match ever was playing a Nivea mid against Reginald's Gragas.
How'd that go for you?
I did really well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, I did super. He was really good at Gragas, but I held my own very well. I was rocking it in that tournament. We got second, unfortunately, but it was a fun time because I started off playing top and mid. Then I hated jungle, actually, when I first started.
Okay.
I think it was Gragas, an old school player that I was like, you know what, if Gragas can do it, I sure as hell can. So that's how I got it.
Do you miss that part of tournaments a little bit? Because now everything's so structured. It's like very professional and it's riot run. Do you miss that kind of more open, like, hey, let's grab this guy and see how we do?
Yeah,
and have
of
some
course.
fun?
It's free form. It's so ghetto. It's just, you never know what to expect out
I
of these
think we prefer
tournaments.
grassroots, by the way, not ghetto.
Ghetto might have a little bit more of a negative connotation.
Grassroots.
Yeah.
No, that's not negative.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, grassroots is the word
You're
to
saying
use.
ghetto.
I've never heard that word,
Ghetto
grassroots.
is like you're in the basement and it's like grungy, and grassroots is like positive.
Yeah,
and
it's like the
everything's
community
like,
all
yeah.
coming together.
This word is too white for me. Here we
Okay,
go.
all right, whatever.
Okay.
We'll move on.
Yeah, so in the second tournament I went to, IEM Hanover, we also did the same thing because I believe our mid laner, our top, he actually missed his flight. So we needed a player and we didn't have subs, so we just asked around in the tournament, hey, who's the highest ranked top laner that can play for us? And we got a random guy that was like an Aurelia main, and he beat Rain Man and we beat TSF in the tournament.
God.
It was so good.
Yeah, upsets back then were crazy. They happened pretty much all the time.
Yeah, I mean, everyone lost to everyone, which is fun.
Yeah. And so since then, you've obviously transitioned more to be a personality and caster. Was this something that was very natural and easy for you? Because you did a lot of it while you were still a player. Was this something you were always looking to like transition to what you wanted to, or was it just something fun to do and you kind of grew into it?
It was both, because I remember I wanted to do a lot of interviews, and I know that you helped out with that as well in just getting noticed out there, and I always try to have as much practice as possible because I felt like public speaking is just a skill that I should have, whether it's something that I do as a profession or not. And I try to do it as much as possible, and eventually I just figured that it was so enjoyable that I wanted to do it more and more and more. And when the opportunity came around that I was fully capable of making an easy transition from player, coach, or whatever to actually doing broadcast, I felt like all the work that I had done beforehand was paying dividends, because looking back on some of the initial interviews or segments, it's painful. It is so bad.
Yeah, it's, oh God, the early days, you saw Travis on stage, like hosting. Oh, it was so brutal.
Well, the beard now is just,
Yeah,
pretty sick.
He's got a little bit more style to him. He's got the old man look.
And that's it for me on the show, guys. I actually have to head out.
Speaking of being on camera and being a lot better now, we actually pulled a couple of clips of yours that we want to take a look at. Let's look at the first one.
They look so much more crisp even last week than what that game gave advantage of.
Well, I have a metaphorical representation of what happened that game. We have right here.
No, I didn't make that.
What was that? Well, they got blown out of the water. They got blown out of the water. Oh, you should have gotten down there.
Yeah, everyone that's silenced and everyone's just sitting there like, what was that?
We don't get it.
Yeah, no one got it. I can't believe that you had that boat prepared. Like, how did you come up with that?
I think we were coming up with ideas of just goofs and gaffs to do on the segment, and we just found like, you know what? Why not just put him as a ship getting blown out of the water? And we're like, yeah.
Wait, so they were supposed to be more prepared for it?
What do you mean?
Because like everyone sat there like, oh, we don't get this, but
no, everyone knew this was coming. I was like, what do you mean you guys don't get this?
Yeah, they didn't help you out at all.
Yeah,
they left you out there to try.
I felt like I did my dues in explaining it.
Yeah, I think you did too. Let's take a look at another clip. This one is more about what you say than what you do.
Oh, Jesus.
Cloud9 is the team to go for. On top of the fact that Sneaky has been performing so well, I think they're going to really put up the fight to Kid and Kitties. And to be honest, if you're on the IG side and you tell me, oh, but what about CZ Tai and the Balls matchup? Isn't that a worrying trend? Isn't CZ Tai just going to stomp all over Balls? Well, to that I tell you, aren't Balls the weakest region in all of us? You know, Cloud9, usually from the first game, we learned that they know how to...
I like you could hear the crew.
Yeah, you could hear everyone.
Is this another thing that was like prepared beforehand?
No, so actually, I didn't have desk for that day or for like a couple of days, and I was like, you know what, I just want to do something. Can you give me some time? And I wasn't prepared because that's like the sweater I wear. I just had a T-shirt underneath. And like, look, we'll give you a telestrator segment. I was like, trust me, it'll be funny. Don't worry about it. And I was just thinking of a monologue of something that would be captivating to say. Because a lot of the times I'll just look at the names of items, objects, or anything, like what kind of joke can come out of this?
Yeah, it's definitely something I like working with you about because I'm not like the kind of guy who's like when I see something I want to crack a joke about it, but when we're on the desk together, you're always looking for like stupid things that you can do.
That's me right there.
Yeah, speaking of our time together on the desk, actually, that is the last clip that we're going to roll for you.
I thought you were going to, speaking of stupid things.
And the phoenix rises from the ashes.
I can explain myself.
There it is. No, a great first victory for Phoenix One here on the split. Taking
Okay,
down
so yeah,
Apex
I mean, obviously
in a
Mark
2-1
knows what
series.
happened here, but
great to see them grab that victory. Great to hear from
obviously, we wanted to do the Phoenix Rising thing, but for the high five, I didn't know that we were doing high five, and his hand was already up, so I was like, oh, I guess you guys are doing high five, so I high-fived him. And I turned to you, and your high five wasn't there, and I was like, oh, I guess they're not high-fiving then anymore.
Yeah, I needed a second to get it up.
It went like that. I was like, ah.
Can I click my high five now? Can I get it?
Oh, nice.
Let's go. Travis, you want
one? It looks like it was
You
painful.
want
I don't
one?
want that. That looks like it was... Okay.
Yeah, see, he toned it down for you. You got the soft hands, the soft interviewer hands.
Supple.
Yeah,
Can't
exactly.
carry a
I need these
camera.
for the microphone. It's very...
Doesn't have any calluses from
Is that
gaming.
the only thing it's...
Let's move on.
All right, we're going to step away from that topic. You're always known as the Prophet, of course, that being one of your most famous like little things that you did. And so we're going to have to ask you for some predictions heading forward into the next year. So my first question is, will plants last more than one season in the jungle, or are they kind of a gimmick?
Will they last more than one season? I think
full year season.
I think they will, honestly, because they're not really impacting the game that much. And it's another little extra mechanic to the game that people are kind of having fun with it, especially with the blasting one, right? That's pretty exciting. And it adds just another strange level of depth. Do I think it'll last more than one? Not if they don't have insane tweaks.
Are you having fun with them?
Am I having fun with the plant?
Yeah.
Dude, I can't even play League of Legends. I have to go to
Have you not heard this story?
I have to go to PC Bongs, right, wherever to play League because I'm sitting here on a laptop. That's all I have. I'm not in the gaming house anymore, right? I don't have a PC set, so I just have to play from there. And League literally crashes my PC every single time. So that's a shout out to any sponsors that are willing to listen to me say how great their computers are.
Why don't you just send your specs to Riot and be like, hey, what's happening here? Like, just bring it in one day to the studio. They got tech guys there. They can help.
I think he's saying his computer's just not good enough.
Yeah.
It's completely just that bad.
Well, I mean, I can play Yeah, I can't run all the games that I'd like to play. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
I wanted to play Dead Space. I couldn't play Dead Space. I was like,
all right, so you got to get hooked up.
Somebody, please.
Moving on to the next prediction, which, if any, of the reworked Assassins do you think will be played in competitive, or will they all get nerfed into the ground?
So I think they all will be played in competitive, because if we look at the last rework, which was a major rework, it was every single pick was super broken, right?
Yeah.
People say Vel'Koz wasn't that broken. He's just hard and difficult to fit in, but he's definitely quite powerful. I feel the same for the Assassin one. It'll just be a matter of time where the meta makes sense for people to actually play these guys. But overall, it's just a general idea of when these champions get reworked, you want to have them come up in a very strong position so that they get played, so that people try them out and say, oh, maybe this needs to be toned down, because if you make it, it's trash. Nobody plays it, it'll get forgotten.
Okay. Now this next one, totally unfair, but I'm still gonna need an answer. Without knowing anything about any of the rosters,
okay,
who in NA is gonna take first place?
Who in NA is taking first place? Ah, man.
I mean, we're not expecting much. You can say anything. You're not like, don't need like crunch numbers.
Let's say, I think CLG was going to do well.
All right, CLG for first place. Spring or summer?
Let's do spring. I mean, are we doing the whole year? That's too long.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, it's unfair.
Hey, if relegation is there, we don't even know the teams.
Oh, that's true. How can you predict?
Yeah.
All right. And then is there anything else you want to say, like anything you want to predict before we start closing out?
Anything that I want to predict
is there anything that like the gods have given to you to share with the people?
I mean, all that stuff is too introspective and stuff that is...
Yeah. he knows a lot of things that are happening 3,000 years from now, but he doesn't really want to share those.
I mean, if you want to talk about philosophy and that kind of stuff,
nope.
Yeah,
I think we're going to pass on that. This is mostly a League of Legends show. And with that, I think it's about time that we close out. It's been great having you here. I hope you had a lot of fun. I know I did. The telestrator segment was great.
Yes.
Yeah, you enjoyed it?
I did. I had a lot of fun.
Travis,
triangles are my favorite shape.
It was okay. I liked the telestrator segment. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
The Anivia part, I didn't expect that. That was a surprise to me.
So
that's why he's so fun to
So you're more of watching and not doing.
Yeah. That's my role in the show. Is I just sort of sit here and look pretty, and then let Mark do all the work.
Can you rate him on that?
No. Get him out of here. That's gonna do it for us here at Late Night League. Remember to watch every day or every Tuesday.
Day.
Not every day would be horrible.
They should shoot it every day.
Every day. Every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific, for more League of Legends coverage. Stick around for Tilted coming next. That's going to do it for all of us here at Late Night League. Have a good afternoon.
The year was 1870. The place? Seattle. A young Michael Martin works on the streets just like everyone else does in Seattle, as a street fighter. One day he was approached by a man named Benjamin Franklin, who claimed to have invented something he called the Fireball Gin. He claimed it could throw fireballs faster than any street fighter known to man. This man's invention would put all of the workers out of business. Christmas was obviously ruined. What did Michael Martin do? You know damn well what he did. He challenged Benjamin Franklin to a fireball off. The battle lasted 27 years. Michael threw over 13 billion fireballs, but in the end, the Fireball Gin was defeated. Everyone cheered Michael Martin's name. And that's why everyone in the FGC loves Michael Martin. This story has been confirmed true by Travis Gafford's toupee. I'm Buddy Hutton, and this has been a true esports story.